Okay. All right. Yeah,
And
that makes,
then, so
yeah.
you are recording and good to go.
Okay, great. And, did you, just one other housekeeping note, did you get my email for people who will need screen permission?
You know what? I've been working on this, but I have
Okay.
access to my email. So I will go through and add them
Okay.
right now.
Okay, great. Thanks. And you'll be on with us, right, Audrey?
Yeah, I'll be on the whole time.
Okay. All right. We apologize for that again, everyone. So, Stephanie, we do have quorum. So if you want to start up the meeting, that would be great. Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Steve. Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Continuum of Care Committee meeting. We will call meeting to order at 9:36. My name is Stephanie Smith. I'm with Native American Connections, and I'm co-chair of the committee. My co-chair, Michelle Jamison, with U.S. Vets, isn't able to join us today, so you get to deal with me for the whole meeting. We'll start with introductions. I'll call each committee member's name and ask you to introduce yourself and your organization. Adrian Clark. Stephanie Crum.
Hello, Stephanie Crum here, Human Services Campus.
Morning. Kathy Donalfi. Don't know if I saw her. Right. Alfred Edwards. DC Ernst.
Morning, everyone. This is DC. I'm with Phoenix Fire Crisis Response.
Morning. Tricia Gibson. Wendy Johnson.
Sorry. Good morning. Tricia Gibson here with ABC Housing.
Okay. Got you, Tricia. Thanks.
Good morning,
Now,
Wendy
Wendy.
Johnson with Justice Center.
Anne Marie Johnson.
Good morning. This is Anne Marie with Community Bridges.
And Laura Magruder.
Good morning, Laura Magruder with Maggie's Place.
And Jennifer Page.
Morning. Jennifer Page here from Mercy Care.
Erin Rain. Nikki Ramirez.
Nikki Ramirez with Chicanos por la Causa.
Tama Riley.
Morning, Tama Riley with ASU.
Ty Rosensteel.
Good morning, everybody. This is Ty Rosensteel with Crisis Response Network.
Morning. Shayla Schuster.
Morning. Shayla Schuster from Community Solutions.
Sarah Sims. Laura Scott Nicky.
Laura Scott Nicky, Save the Family. Good morning.
Steven Stivers.
Good morning, Daniel Davis, proxy for Steven Stivers at UMOM.
All right. Jawan Thornton.
Hi, good morning, Jawan Thornton, Salvation Army.
Morning. Craig Tripkin.
Morning, Craig Tripkin with Central Arizona Shelter Services.
All right. Aaron, is that you who just joined us from your car?
Yeah, sorry. We heard my name getting ready called, and I hit the wrong button and kicked myself out of the meeting. But Aaron Rain, City of Mesa, clearly technically inept.
All right. And then we'll have the COC staff introduce themselves. Steve Dudasik.
Hi, this is Steve Dudasik from the Maricopa Regional Continuum of Care. #MAG.
All right. And Sarah Kent.
Good morning, everybody. Sarah with the COC here.
And Julie?
Good morning, everyone. Julie Montoya with Maricopa CSC.
And Tina Lopez?
Hi, this is Tina. I'm from MAC. Good morning.
Morning. And then we have other presenters today who can also introduce themselves. I'll start with Hillary Evans.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, good. Earlier I wasn't getting anything. Hi, everyone. My name is Hillary Evans. I work for Crisis Response Network, and I work both on the HMIS team and our 211 team. Thanks for having me.
Jeff Wilgell.
Hi, this is Jeff Wilgell. I'm the Healthcare for Homeless Veterans Coordinator with the Phoenix VA.
Morning. And Penny Miller.
Penny Miller, CRRC Coordinator, Phoenix VA.
Melody Boyette.
Good morning. This is Melody Boyer. I'm the Section Chief for the Homeless Programs at the Phoenix VA.
Boyer, got it. Sorry. All right, is there anybody else on the call who I didn't call? Hear none. All right, for all participants, please mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking, and please do not put your phone on hold. We will hear your music. For all participants, we ask that you please identify yourself when speaking. We will be reminding people to do that throughout the meeting, as we have been advised this is important for open meeting law. Final housekeeping item is all votes will be roll call votes. I will call roll after a motion is made. We'll move on to call to the audience. Please note that members of the public were given an opportunity to submit written comments relating to this meeting to azmag.gov/comments within 1 hour of the posted start time for the meeting. Any written comments submitted will be included in the meeting record. Steve, were there any comments posted?
No comments were received.
Thank you. We'll move on to approval of the August minutes. Those were sent out last week. I'm going to take a minute and I'll entertain a motion.
Can I just ask Stephanie, on item 3, my name is spelled wrong, so there's just a typo. Otherwise, I move to approve the minutes.
This is Ty Rosensteel with CRN. I second Laura's motion.
All right, thank you, Laura and Ty. We can get your name corrected, Laura. I know how that feels. All right, so I will do, are there any comments? I guess I should have asked if there were any comments first, or discussion. Hearing none, okay. So I'll proceed with roll call. Stephanie Crum?
Aye.
DC Ernst?
Aye.
Trisha Gibson? Aye. Wendy Johnson?
Aye.
Anne Marie Johnston?
This is Anne Marie. Hi. Sorry.
Thank you. Laura, you're fine. Laura Magruder?
Aye.
Jen Page? Aye. Aaron Rain?
Aye.
Nikki Ramirez?
Aye.
Tamara Riley?
Aye.
Ty Rosensteel?
Aye.
Shayla Schuster?
Aye.
Laura Scott Nicky?
Aye.
Daniel Davis?
Aye.
Joanne Thornton,
Aye.
and Craig Tripkin.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes, and we'll move on to the next agenda item. Julie Montoya from MAG, the Maricopa Regional Continuum of Care, will provide an update on the 2020 NOFA.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Okay. So a NOFA announcement still has not been released. But our last update from HUD was that they preferred a non-competitive process, but they are working with Congress to be able to move forward with that. They do need Congress approval, and we know that that's kind of stuck right now. So they did post the GIWs, the grant inventory worksheets, and MAG and COC staff did submit any changes on behalf of COC providers. They did say that they would need those no matter whether there is a competitive process or not. So we're just still kind of waiting to see what happens. We did speak with the providers and provide them an update and let them know that, you know, we're still waiting, and did push back the timeline another 2 weeks for beginning, or if they want to go ahead and start with the Presto process. So no real new updates.
Thank you, Julie. Any questions or comments from anybody? Hearing none. This isn't on the agenda for action, so we can move on to the next agenda item. So next we will have Jeff, Penny, and Melody from the VA Homeless Services to present on the VA HMIS plan.
Good morning, this is Melody. I don't have the screen, and I did have attachments to share, so I wasn't certain how you'd like me to share that with others, or I can do so after the meeting.
Yeah,
Are you
Melody,
connected?
Yeah.
Are you connected in such a way that
sorry,
I don't see you in this? This is Audrey. I don't see you in the attendee list, so I couldn't give you control. Is your name over there?
I wasn't able to get in online. I had to call in via telephone, so I don't have the ability to do that.
Okay.
All right, Melody, hi, this is Steve. I would suggest that, you know, if you don't have the ability to share screen, why don't we just present, you know, without it, and then you could email me the, you know, the handout, and I could send it out to the group if that makes sense.
Sure, no, that's no problem. I can do that.
Great, appreciate it.
So I'll go ahead and get started then to explain our performance improvement piece. Thank you for the time this morning. We greatly appreciate all of your time. We do have some changes that are going to impact the COC system, and specifically the VA is opting out of HMIS effective September 30th. And there's a few reasons for this, but mostly for us, it's duplication of efforts. We have an internal database that we call Homes, and we enter some of the same data sets and information that's also required in HMIS. In doing this, we had done quite a bit of research and reached out to other VAs that operate without the use of HMIS to see how they best capture this information and how they also communicate this data to their COCs respectively. So in doing this, we got some research to see what best practices, and so we came up with the following. So first, we reached out to the other access points in the community to see how others would feel if the VA would take the lead in on the binding list. And by that, I mean the VA would be responsible for synthesizing that. So that list would be would reside with us, but it also would have a tab that would include the VA list, so all the data that we import from Homes. And then we also would have a tab that would include the community from HMIS data. And again, we would get this in a very similar process to what we do now. We receive the HMIS report every Monday so that we can participate in case conferencing on Tuesday. So that piece would stay the same. So that said, what we would do is have the HMIS data continue to be emailed to us by Monday and prepare that report and merge our reports so that we could share that with the community and participate in our regularly scheduled meeting for case conferencing. Just for frame of reference, 80% of the data that goes onto the by name list is currently input by the VA, which means most of the information is that the veterans are coming through the front door here at the CRRC, or our one-stop homeless center. So with that said, we would just have the remaining 20% of the data that needs to be input in the by name list to get from the community. So again, this is how we would get that information imported to us. Every Monday we'd be able to do that and get that tab set up. We do have a program analyst here at the Phoenix VA named Brett Markhart who would be able to continue to maintain that. So there's the integrity of the list and making certain that there's not too many hands in the pot, so to speak, with the data. Make sure that, you know, it stays valid. In doing this process too, instead of using the VI SPDAT, the Phoenix VA would be implementing the case management matrix. That would help us to get our scores to determine vulnerability. And again, this is something that, you know, coordinated entry from the VA as a directive has used as an acceptable medium in lieu of the VI SPDAT. So I'm going to jump down, and I apologize, this is probably easier if you guys can see the list. What we did is we outreached our community partners in doing this for the B&L construction, and we had several people that we outreached and consulted to make certain that all of the pertinent categories are included on this list. So I'll be sending that forward to Steve so you guys can see that. It will be in blank form, but you guys will see all the categories that we as a community came up with. On our end, we have our own report that we would run each week because we'll input all the veterans that we see on our end in what we call our HCHD case management report. And so we would run that every Monday. And again, we would get the other remaining piece from the community in the HMIS report that we currently receive. So again, we would merge those reports and then present for case conferencing on Tuesdays. And again, any information that needs to be updated in HMIS would be provided in the moment when we're doing case conferencing. So our community partners in consulting them were agreeable to doing that when this occurs. And we've consistently reached out to our community partners. We also presented this to MAG, I believe it was August 25th when we originally presented this change idea and what we're moving forward with. The other piece of this is we've also consulted with our privacy officer on campus because we do have a VA directive that we're able to use so that we don't have to continually sign the universal ROIs unless there's specific health data, you know, that we control for. Those particular categories would pertain to substance abuse, sickle cell, and HIV. And we would continue in those instances per policy. We'd have those discussions with those vets and we would continue to sign those ROIs in that instance. So we've been able to get that piece so we don't have to continually sign ROIs if the only instance is that it pertains to the purposes of housing for the veteran. And again, this is a national VA directive that the privacy officer has researched at length to make certain that this is cohesive. And again, if it's more sensitive health information or private health information, we would go over the veteran, you know, what their rights are in terms of the release of information. I'm going to turn it over to Penny to go over the SSDF referral piece. Penny?
Hi there. Yeah, so part of the process that we did with the community partners in coming up with a performance improvement project with us leaving, not only with just the tail end on Melody with, you know, we had a separate work group that we were working with the SSVF providers, the Human Services Campus, Welcome Center, CRN was part of it, all that good stuff for the past couple of months to figure out how we're going to be moving forward. And we looked at this as an opportunity to actually better the by name list, you know, to get it to be a little bit more solid data in terms of who we had in the community and the follow-up plans. One of the things that we had implemented in the past few years, I think it was actually 2 years ago maybe, was the SSVF referral process was put in to HMIS. So we're kind of reverting back to what we were doing prior to doing that in HMIS, which when we spoke with the SSVF providers, they were all in agreement. And basically what we're going to do is we have all of the SSVF providers' contact information for about 3 POCs for each agency, some 4. The team here does a warm handoff. It's going to end up being an SSVF referral in some form. So they give them a heads up of what's going on and to see if we can do a in the moment handoff. And then we have a internal, what we refer to as a homeless verification email that goes out through our liaisons. The liaisons send those out for the transitional housing and the SSVF providers every day. So they get a actual handoff, electronic handoff that day as well. And then that information is also going into our internal BNL that we're creating. So we will use that when it comes to case conferencing on Tuesdays for that kind of final closing the loop. So you get a warm handoff, an electronic email, which back in the day used to be a fax. And then we're doing the by name list case conferencing.
And just to piggyback on that, for oversight going forward, we'll have the same 4 individuals that'll be providing oversight of the BNL, at least for the VA side of the house. That would be Jeff Wilgale, Penny Miller, Michelle Sullivan, who's our CRRC team lead, and then Brett Markhart, who's our program analyst. And again, we want to make sure that all the, you know, there's fidelity and integrity to the list itself. So we're consolidating that to the same 4 individuals, and each one of them are subject matter experts, have been working in that field long enough that we're going to move forward with them as our point of contact. The last piece, you know, I just wanted to mention, and the impetus for a lot of this change was that, you know, when we assess veterans at the CRRC, in large part what we do is clinical in nature. And so each time that we are assessing veterans, you know, on average, it's about 1.5 hours to 2 hours for all our clinical assessments that we do. And that's a number of things. That's housing, that's employment, that's mental health, substance abuse. We do suicide risk assessment and evaluation. Sometimes we have to refer them or have them evaluated by a medical provider, depending on the situation. So again, you know, that is just separate to the information we were previously putting in with HMIS. And that too, again, you know, was duplicative in nature to some of the things that we're putting in our own databases that we're responsible for. So we're doing the administrative piece and the clinical piece. And so again, this change idea is to do something that's, you know, we looked at as best practices. And again, to make certain that, you know, my providers and my team have the bandwidth and the ability to spend and dedicate more time to look at the clinical matters that we need to desperately address. As many of you know, our veterans present in our community with really, you know, complex presentation. And so we want to, again, make certain that always, first and foremost, that we're addressing the clinical nature. And you know, what we were seeing were some issues with HMIS. And so there was at times, you know, we're having to re-verify or fix some information. There's some data that wasn't accurate. And so that also was spending a great deal of time to do that. And again, this was taking away from clinician time. So again, you know, the sole reason in all of this change idea is so we could dedicate more time to the clinical needs of the veteran. Because again, VA is, you know, we're a healthcare agency, and first and foremost, we need to be spending, you know, the majority of our time doing that. So, and then the last piece before I forget is that, you know, at this point in time, it was taking between 1.5 to 2 full-time employees to, in that, so y'all can conceptualize what we're getting at here, is 1 to 2 employees spending, that would be all day long to input the data that's needed. So it would be literally a full-time position consecutively to make sure all this information is put in between both the VA database and the community database. And as I said earlier, I will go ahead to send all of these attachments and our workflow so that, you know, while I know I'm presenting this in a verbal manner, at least you'll have some kind of flow that you guys can see in which we operate. So I'll leave it at that if there's any questions.
Yeah, hi, Melody, and thank you for presenting, and, you know, and with your colleagues, you know, Jeff and Penny. You know, we appreciate you bringing this out to the community, and, you know, to everyone on the line. You know, this is going to roll out October 1, and we're going to continue to have open conversations, and, you know, and continue a dialogue as this rolls out to either improve upon the change idea or just to see how it flows. So I just wanted to put that out there to everyone on this call, that we're continuing to be in close partnership with the VA, and the VA are continuing to be in close partnership with us, you know, at the COC. It's not an us versus them. We're all in this together, and we want all veterans to not experience homelessness in our community and remain permanently housed. So I just want to throw that out there, and thank you for being on this meeting today. Melody, Jeff, and Penny, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us this morning and allowing us to put out this presentation. We are mindful that, you know, it's come to our attention that there are a few other potential change ideas, so we want to continue to have that conversation as well and make certain that Phoenix VA is included in those conversations, much like you were mentioning.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone.
This is Ty.
Any other?
I have one quick comment as well. I just wanted to thank the VA for their presentation today. You know, TJ and I have worked really closely with the VA and the veteran homeless groups over the past 2 years. And, you know, I really couldn't be prouder of our community and the quality of our veteran by name list. And all of the efforts that the VA are describing are absolutely accurate, that it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of community effort to get a by name list that is accurate and maintained and kept up to date. And, you know, I'm really proud of our community getting to the point where we did. And I'm excited for the VA, you know, taking ownership of this effort and really continuing on that torch of excellence, of making sure that the information is kept up to date, and that our community has the information that is most reliable and most valuable, and that, you know, they're trying to find a way to do that in a more efficient manner. And so, you know, I'm certainly disappointed that this is not going to be an opportunity where we have a single data system, but that has always been the problem, is that there is not a connection point between homes and HMIS, right? There's not a technology that allows for the two software platforms to communicate with each other and share data seamlessly. So, you know, while I'm disappointed that our community is not going to have sort of the same continuity of information, I'm really inspired that the VA is committed to this high level of and I hope that we can continue the conversations in data transparency. So I just really thank the VA for continuing this effort and keeping their dedication to high levels of data quality and finding the most efficient ways to do that.
Thanks, Ty. Is there anybody else who has any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. Thank you again, Melody, Jeff, and Penny for joining us this morning. And once we get those handouts, and then we will definitely send that out to everybody. This is on the agenda for action. So we'll move on to the next agenda item. And next is Hillary Evans from CRN will present on 211 and Built for Zero data.
Great. Hi, everyone. You can hear me okay? I keep asking that because I keep getting disconnected. So sorry for the redundancy there. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. Steve asked me to come and present some of the databases that we have that will hopefully be a good tool for all of you if you're not already using these tools. The first one, I think as everyone knows, 211 is now back up and running, and that's wonderful news. So it's 24 hours, 7 days a week now. And one of the things that we're focused on is under my new role, I'm overseeing a community engagement team, and the focus of that team is to really engage community partners throughout the state to help 211 be a very robust resource to community members. This gives we'll have physical people that are in counties, going to meetings, going to homeless meetings, going to all kinds of different things. And our focus is really looking at income security, housing and homelessness, healthcare, and food resources. I'm going to tell you why we came up with that. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, I have permission. Awesome. So I wanted to, sorry, wrong screen there. I wanted to show you this. You can see up here, this is az.211counts.org. So this is data from our 211 line, and it's a database that shows where the calls are coming from and what folks are requesting in terms of services. So I'm gonna show you a little bit of how to use this, and then I don't know, Steve, if you already sent this link out, but if not, I can put it in the chat. So here you can choose by county or you can choose by zip code. So if you're really wanting to dig into your city and really understand what are the calls that are coming in your specific city, you can go by zip code, or you can do by county. So I'm going to select Maricopa, and I'm going to do it for the last 90 days. So we see what's gone on during COVID. So it pulls up information for these categories here. And then if you click on each of these, you get more detailed information for each of them. So it goes in a little bit deeper. So for instance, for food, people are calling and asking for food pantries or help buying food. So why this is important, it was important on a lot of levels, but when we decided to, when Ty decided that to create the community engagement team, it was really based on what we were seeing in 211. We were seeing that a lot of calls were coming in for housing and shelter, for rental assistance specifically, as you see here. 53.9% of the calls that came into Maricopa County in the last 90 days within this category of housing and shelter were for rental assistance. We also have a lot of calls coming in for food, as you see, and utilities, and then healthcare, and then also employment or income services. So we use this data. I'm going to give an example of how we've recently used this data to partner in an advocacy effort. I don't know if Joanna's on the call, but Arizona Housing Coalition, we were partnered with them looking at all of the different COVID funding coming in and trying to evaluate and write down and collect how our tenants and residents and folks that are experiencing homelessness can access the funds that are coming in. And as we were doing that and making calls to different municipalities, we noticed that a number of municipalities hadn't either dedicated funds towards rental assistance or weren't aware that that was a need in their community or in their specific region, or hadn't planned to do it and weren't really interested in that conversation. So what we did is we provided, based on zip code, we provided Joanna and the Housing Coalition with data specifically looking at these categories: rental assistance, low-cost housing, and shelter, for each of the cities and municipalities that either hadn't dedicated funds or didn't know they could dedicate funds towards rental assistance. And then the Housing Coalition put together a letter and sent that out to all of these municipalities using this data here. So that's an exciting way that we see this tool being really active and helpful. So you can also look, I just want to show you here, you can do percentages and count. So this gives you a sense of how many folks called in and made a request in the last 90 days just for Maricopa County in these categories. Is there any questions about this, or Ty, do you want to add any? Ty's much more used to this tool than I am, so if you have any input, Ty.
Only functionality that you missed, Hillary, is that if you
Ty, we lost you if you're talking. Apparently it was really important too. It's a functionality I missed.
sorry about that. Only functionality you missed is if you click on the little people icon between the name of the resource and the bar showing the count of the resource, it gives you a real simple demographics breakdown.
Oh, great. Oh, I didn't know that.
Gender, veteran, and age. And we've found some really interesting things there where you know, you would sort of expect to see certain gender breakdowns and you don't see those gender breakdowns. So this is the overall housing and shelter for all people calling. You can see that the primarily, you know, the majority are females that are calling the 211 hotline. Hillary, if you can go over and do the same thing for those that are calling about shelter. So on the right-hand side, those 838, you know, the predominant large, you know, percentage-wise, you know, single adult males represent the largest population, but that is not the same population that is calling 211. So it's definitely an area where we're trying to understand a little bit about the caller demographics of who are calling the system. This is not meant to be, you know, representative of who is actually using the data.
How are you? Good morning.
Certainly in a lot of the conversations of ensuring, you know, that the resource is available to the right people and that, you know, we're making proper and correct assumptions of who is using our hotline. This type of demographic data drilled down to the specific resource that the people are requesting is proving to be really interesting. I don't know that we have found anything actionable off of that yet, but it's something that certainly, you know, folks like yourselves, as you investigate this, we'd be really interested to hear your thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, so I just clicked on rental assistance. So you're seeing that we're seeing the same thing. So this is folks that are in housing, but are at risk of losing housing because they can't pay their rent. And again, we're seeing a large percentage of females calling. Yeah, thank you, Ty. That's really important. Is there any questions about this, since you have both Ty and us on the phone for a minute? We hope you'll use this and let us know, give us information back on how it's working for you. All right, I'm gonna switch over now. So hopefully most of you are familiar with our Built for Zero dashboard. CRN, actually TJ from both the 211 and the HMIS team is the one that inputs the data here. I'm gonna start just from the beginning because sometimes folks get confused on where to find the dashboard. So when you go to the Join Built for Zero website, you click here on My Community, and then you come here and you have an option of choosing your agency or your city. So you see here, we're Phoenix, Mesa, Maricopa County Regional COC. Our password is shifts happen 2019. Let's see if I did that right. I did. Okay, and it takes you in here. So the data in this dashboard is updated every month on the 15th. So yeah, and what it tells us is, sorry, I think I might have had some, yeah, I was working out of here for a minute. What it tells us a number of things. It tells us how many folks are actively homeless, but I want to make sure you know it's within a category. So there's two categories that we track. There's veteran homelessness, and then there's chronic homelessness. So let's take a look first at chronic homelessness. It tells you the active number of how many people are actively chronically homeless. You can also see how that number has changed, gone up or down. We're not, I think this number is going up, but as I've talked with folks, this seems normal for the hotter months each year, is that some of the chronically homeless folks that don't usually access shelter come back out or come back in. So we're not seeing significant changes there. But this is a really useful tool if you want to understand, if you want to look at our data and understand within those categories what's going on. I'm going to click over to the tab that we use most when we're in meetings, which is the inflow and outflow tab. So inflow is looking at how many people are coming into the system and then how many people are exiting. I'm going to switch over actually to veterans. And we've seen a significant kind of drop in how many folks, see the red dots show a shift, and how many folks are leaving to housing, and also a shift in our inflow. And you can actually dial into this. Let's see if I'm in the right place. Here we go. So if you click on this tab, it says select metric to display. You can start to look at who are folks that are coming into the system. So new is, these are folks that haven't been in HMIS for the last 2 years. So you can click on that and see how many of our, it shows right here, how many of the folks within that number, so within this 450, are new to HMIS within the last 2 years. So we are seeing not huge increases, because you look at back in January, we had 94. But I think the number that when we were looking at it yesterday was return from inactive. This number has been going up. Ty, can you talk about return from inactive? You're better at describing that than I am, what that means. So this has been a concern that we've been looking at as the veteran homeless team, because we're seeing a pretty big increase in that number.
Yeah, the easiest way to describe return from inactive is understanding what inactive means. So a person that is active is a person that's experiencing homelessness in the community in the past month, and actively using services. And if they become inactive, that means that they are no longer receiving those services. So the definition of returning from inactive means that they are now in our system again, and they were previously in our system and were utilizing services and then stopped using those services. And when they stopped, they did not have a positive housing outcome. So they had previously utilized the services, and when they left, they did not self-report a positive outcome. They did not receive a rent subsidy or any type of housing support assistance, and now they've returned. So this is kind of a measure of churn of people coming in and out of the system. And so, a really high number here indicates either kind of a definitional weirdness, that we sort of define active in a weird way. So a really high number here would indicate that, or we have a reality where persons are cycling in and out of the homeless system a lot. And I think for us, we've done a lot of really good refinement on our definition of what it means to be active, and we have a really wide net in which we would capture persons that are active. So I believe this to be a true number, that we actually have for this particular population, a group of persons. They might not be the same persons, and that's one of the deep dives we have to do, is like, what exactly are the demographics, and what exactly is the understanding of this group of people that are cycling in and out, and are they the same group of people? So the piece that is exciting about the Built for Zero dashboard is just that it provides a level of granularity that allows for us to ask these questions and to do the deep dives to be able to understand the information a little bit better. Hillary, is that what you were looking for?
Yeah, that's really great. So thank you, Ty, that was great. So we have a veterans collaborative meeting to end veteran homelessness that meets, I think, every other week. And we looked at this number yesterday, and from that decided to meet and really do a deep dive into, are people cycling in and out of the system and not moving, moving from point A to point Z to where they're getting housed and getting the resources they need, and why is that happening? So like Ty said, this gives us the opportunity to see a pattern that we don't want to see, right? And then address it. The other one that's in here that is always good to watch is return from housing. And that means if someone was housed and then they return back to the homeless system. And the reason we want to be watching this specifically right now is as when the moratorium lifts, we want to be paying attention to what's happening and how that will impact our system. So it's wonderful that we'll be able to see for chronically homeless folks and for veterans, if they're being impacted by that lift and loss of, any kind of loss of income or changes in income. Anything else, Ty, that I should highlight here? I'm newer to this database, so I'm also still learning. Or Steve, if you had something that you thought was important from our meetings.
Oh, hi, this is Steve. No, I think you covered all of it, Hillary. Again, this is an ongoing dashboard. We always say to the community, we encourage you to look into it and, look at trends and play in the data. And it's really a nice tool to access.
Great. I forgot I was going to.
I have one piece I want to show, just say real quick, Hillary. On the right-hand side, there's an area that says data quality, or quality of data, and quality data to display. If you change this to all data, the piece I just want to share is that the quality data has to do with meeting certain community solutions metrics and being able to get a level of granularity. It doesn't necessarily mean accurate or inaccurate. So now that we've changed to all data, we have additional subpopulations that you can select from. So if you go to the middle of the page on the right-hand side, Hillary, right above quality data is the subpopulation selection. You can use additional selections. So if you wanted to look at families, we do have data here, but we don't have the explicit breakdown of the percentage of families that are entering from new. So the numbers that are here are accurate, right? So these actually do represent accurate active numbers, inflow numbers, and outflow numbers. But because we aren't producing the breakdown of inflow and the breakdown of outflow, we're not getting marked as having quality data. So we have that same information for youth as well. So it's not that the data is inaccurate, it's just that we don't have complete data, so it's just not getting tagged in the same way. So we're actively working on doing this. The pieces that the family and youth information is a little bit more nuanced, and so we don't really want to run with it until we have a little bit of a better understanding there. I believe that this is something we will be able to populate within the next month or two. I'm feeling more confident, especially around the housing placement numbers. So I would anticipate that we're going to have better information here very shortly. I believe that, yeah, perfect. So for example, we are showing youth housing placement numbers. We are showing youth inflow and outflow. But for this particular item, the reason that we're not getting marked as quality data is because of the scorecard. I believe you have to hit certain metrics on the overall scorecard summary and scorecard for like how quality your by name list is overall. So it's not sort of a statistics method. It's more of a programmatic. How is your community doing in this area? So just in terms of investigating this dashboard, if you're looking for a subpopulation that isn't listed, just swap that data to display to all data, and then it'll give you additional subpopulations to work at. That's all I really wanted to show there.
Thank you.
Can I just add something, Kai? This is Shayla Schuster. I work at Community Solutions, and I'm a part of the Built for Zero team. And I just want to add about the family dashboard. So technically, we just released the scorecard for quality data for families, and we're still like in the testing phases. So I
we'd send it out to TJ and Ty and to Randy at the Family Housing Hub, and they've taken the scorecard. But I mean, literally, they just got it like 2 weeks ago, and we're just now working through it. So I just wanted people to be aware of that this is like brand new, and Phoenix is one of the few communities that has actually taken it. I've only had 5 communities actually take the family scorecard so far. So it's still a work in progress, and I think it's really exciting because we're well on our way to having quality data for families. And I'm excited to say I got to, build this dashboard, but that TJ and Ty and Randy also had a nice role in that as part of, and so Maricopa County, I feel like, has a great representation in that. So I'm really grateful for that.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we're excited too, and we're excited that we're working a lot on the inflow and outflow for the other those other categories, and excited to be able to display that. I wanted to say one more thing. So when there's a significant shift, either positive or negative, you'll see these red dots, and you'll see that it says shift, and it means shift, a difference between our median and what we what our average is. So it could be really positive or it could be a really negative issue. One thing that we've been concerned about within the veteran group is, again, that our housing placements have gone significantly down, and this shows us that, which we appreciate. And so that's another thing we're having conversations about. What are folks seeing in the field? What are they experiencing? Are landlords resistant to using vouchers more so than usual, which is what some of the feedback we got. That a lot of the veterans that we're working with have some significant barriers in terms of criminal history, and so that's causing some issues. So just to show that data can really help us tell the story and tell what we need advocacy around, and also where we need support. So that's it. Any questions about this before we close it out? Great. Thank you.
Hi, hey, this is Penny from the VA. Hey, we just have a question in terms of this committee as a general. Who are the veteran representatives on this committee? I know that the VA is not participating on this piece, and I know the vets seem to be a topic. Is there an opportunity for us to join, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I was looking through. So Michelle Jameson is with US Vets. She's probably the one.
And this is Sarah from US Vets standing in for Michelle today. Hi, Penny.
Ah, okay.
Hi there. So yeah, so in terms of definitely a part of the community partners in terms of the vets coming through, but in terms of an entry point, the majority of the vets for the community, the coordination is normally going to the VA, and the VA is the confirmation of service and eligibility. So I was just wondering how would we be able to get an opportunity to participate?
Yeah, so we do have, I lost the word. So there's people that have different terms on the committee. So as people term off, they would have to reapply to keep their seat on the committee. But that's also when we would open it up for recruitment. So there's some people, if you receive COC funding, you have a seat on the committee. And then after that, membership is open to other community partners. So the next time that we would do a recruitment, that's when you would be able to apply to be on the committee, you or whoever you think would be most appropriate. In the past, I think the most recent person we have from the VA is when Tamara Wright was with the VA, and she sat on the COC board. I don't think we've had anybody on the committee level for a while.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Tamara, right, yeah, we're familiar with Tamara. I think that we've been in communication with her in regards to participation as well. I believe she's with
Yeah,
me.
and I don't, sorry. This is so hard, like virtually. You always cut people off and you don't mean to. I know right now we don't have anybody terming off anytime soon. So we would probably look again in the spring to see if anybody turns off then. And if we do have anybody there, that's when we would do another member recruitment. And we distribute that widely. So I'm sure if you get emails from the COC or MAG, then you would see that announcement.
Yeah, hi Penny, this is Steve. Just for clarification, you know, the way, as you know, the COC is structured where this committee and the board are, you know, a recruitment process for seats. All our other subcommittees and work groups, as you know, do not have that membership application requirement per se. So just want to throw that out there. And if you want to discuss more of, you know, VA, you know, your representation throughout the COC, maybe we could talk a little bit offline so I could fill you in on some of the logistics of that.
Yeah, hi Steve, this is Melody. That sounds like a great idea.
Great, yeah, so we could talk about that, you know, together offline. Thank you.
This is Daniel Davis over at UMOM. I just wanted to say that we have an SSVF program as well, and we always have a committee seat. So
Thanks. I can't keep track of everybody. All right. Anything else for Hillary or Ty? No. Thank you both for presenting. You always make me feel smarter after you talk. Next agenda item, we will be hearing from Sarah Kent from MAG. She's going to provide us on or with updates on the various COC work groups.
Great, thank you so much. Can you hear me okay? All right, great. Good morning, everybody. The Maricopa Regional Continuum of Care work groups around ending homelessness are moving right along. Initially in all of the work groups, for example, the Ending Youth Homelessness work group, Ending Veteran Homelessness work group that was mentioned earlier, the Outreach Collaborative, the Ending Family Homelessness work group, and the Ending Chronic Homelessness work group, the COC has been pushing out HUD and CDC guidelines in regards to COVID-19 and continue to share new guidance as it comes out. Aside from COVID-19 updates and providers developing shared best practices, work groups are doing HMIS data dives while looking at Community Solutions Vote for Zero dashboard, as you all saw earlier with Hillary and Ty, for each subpopulation. And all of the work groups as of recently, we have discussed HUD's strategy for eviction prevention, HUD's new tools for landlords with tenants impacted by COVID-19, and HUD's tenant guidance and rental repayment plans. We have also invited and continuously updated the work groups on the racial equity work of the Continuum of Care that we're doing currently with Joe Consulting through C4 Innovations. Work groups have been made aware of the City of Phoenix strategies to address homeless plan, so they can give feedback directly to the City of Phoenix if they choose. Also, the AZ Housing Coalition regularly provides a legislative update for the work groups. Lastly, each of the work groups are working on change ideas specifically for their population that focus on obtainable goals such as inflow improvement ideas, housing placement, and target change ideas. We are also keeping our Continuum of Care partners informed on new HUD guidance and proposed modifications to policies that affect folks experiencing homelessness. For example, we've shared recently HUD's guidance on, and proposed modification to policies that affect, for example, we recently shared HUD's proposed modification to the 2016 portion of the Equal Access Rule that rolls back provisions added during the previous administration that added a section to the Equal Access Rule that requires all HUD-funded housing services to be provided without discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Very much affects the folks that we serve every day. So specifically in the Outreach Collaborative, we have been looking at the Outreach Viewer and new advancements that MAG's Regional Analytics Division has recently made from the direct recommendations of the Outreach Collaborative members. In the Ending Youth Homelessness work group, we're working to break down barriers with the Family Unification Program vouchers so that youth can access these vouchers in a quicker, more efficient manner. In the Ending Veteran work group, as mentioned before, we're working on a couple different change ideas on inflow improvement and housing placements and targeting those change ideas as well. And then as usual, we give agencies the opportunity to give updates and ask questions to each other for deeper collaboration with other partners in the meeting. And that is my update on the Maricopa Regional Continuum of Care work groups around ending homelessness. And I appreciate everybody's time today. With that, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
All right, hearing none. Thank you, Sarah. Good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
So again, not on the agenda for action. So move on to the next agenda item. And next, Julie from MAG will give us an update on the racial equity work with Jeff Consulting.
Yes, hi, thank you again. Yeah, so last month we were able to hold 3 strategy sessions that were facilitated by our consultants, Jeff Olivet and Donald Whitehead. We were able to get an overview of the assessment from the feedback from surveys and focus groups and interviews. Some of the things that were presented to the group, and there were about 75 participants, which was really awesome at those strategy sessions. Some of the information that was provided to us was, I don't think was completely surprising, but I think kind of validating, knowing that this work is important. They did present that African Americans experience homelessness in Maricopa County at 4 times a greater rate, and Native Americans experience homelessness at rates 2 times greater than the share of the general population in Maricopa County. So I think that that's, something that we kind of knew was occurring, but is quite high, and again, is driving this work that we're doing that is really important. Excuse me. Also, public perception of homelessness, is negative. Unfortunately, a lot of the feedback that was received from the community is that people perceive those that are experiencing homelessness to be lazy, unmotivated, and there by choice. The criminal justice system also, they felt that drive high rates of homelessness among people of color. One of the things that was brought up by many participants in the survey and in the focus groups was that there's racial bias in the coordinated entry process. So that's something that, was talked about quite a bit in the strategy sessions about looking at our coordinated entry system. One of the things that was positive that Jeff and Donald presented that they said they don't see in a lot of communities was that the homelessness workforce in Maricopa County is pretty racially diverse, with 47% of the workforce being or identifying as people of color, and executive leaders and or board members was right around 40%. So that was a positive presentation to us. They also said that those that completed the survey, which was right around 250 people, did share that they, about 36% of them that work in the homeless service workforce have experienced homelessness at some time in their life. So they said that, they felt that that was a real positive for Maricopa County, that a lot of people that are already working with people that are experiencing homelessness currently, are pretty racially diverse. So that was a real positive. As part of the strategy sessions, again, going back to a lot of the conversation was around coordinated entry processes. The SPDAT came up quite a bit. Evictions. A lot of people were talking about the eviction rates that are occurring and how, the judicial system, maybe we could be working a little bit better with the judicial system in that regard. So, we'll be getting a report from Jeff and Donald at the COC board meeting on September 28th with a little bit more in regards to the strategy sessions and how we will be moving forward to implement some changes. Any questions?
Hearing none, thank you for that, Julie, and all the work that you've done with the race equity work group.
Well, thank you to everyone who has participated as well.
All right, if nothing for Julie, this is another item that is not for action, so we'll move on to the next one, which is a request for any future agenda items. If anybody has anything they'd like to talk about at our October meeting or get follow-ups about, we will keep the updates on all of the work groups. We'll keep that on the agenda. Nothing, you guys are so quiet today.
Hi, it's Wendy Johnson at Just App. I have a question about
Hi,
the
Wendy.
point in time data. I'm wondering, is everybody over the age of 18 is grouped together? And selfishly, I would really like to be able to see it, even if it was grouped by decades, you know, 20s, 30s, 40s, so on, or in clusters of under 21, 21 to 54 and 55 and up or something like that. It would be a little bit more responsive for all of us that are trying to meet the needs of certain groups. So that's just one of the things that I continuously think about.
Hi, Wendy.
I do know that got broken out, and I saw Sarah unmuted herself.
Oh, sorry, yes, Wendy, if you'd like, I can put my email in the chat. You can specifically just ask me
I lost you guys.
what you want as far as age, population, things like that, and then I can put in a request with our analytics division and get you the data that you are needing.
Wonderful, Sarah. Thank you. I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah, we can definitely hook you up with that. So I'll throw my email in the chat for you right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any requests for future agenda items? All right. We don't have anything else. Are there any announcements from anybody?
Stephanie, this is Laura Magruder with Maggie's Place. I just wanted to share that we were one of the recipients of the DOJ's Human Trafficking Awards. So our focus is on pregnancy and women during pregnancy that are homeless. So if anybody comes across any victims of human trafficking, whether current or in their past, and they happen to be pregnant and homeless, would you please forward them to Maggie's Place? Have some openings in the near future, and I would love to be able to provide those services to that vulnerable population. Thanks.
Thank you, Laura. That's awesome you guys got that. I will announce that our Stepping Stones 3 project with Native American Connections is in the final stages of construction. I was able to walk the site yesterday, and we are right now looking at tentative move-ins to that new building the end of the month. So just in a couple of weeks, we'll be able to move 42 more people in to permanent supportive housing. And after that, treatment center and Sunny Slope should open shortly after that as well. I think that would be 50 more inpatient beds.
Stephanie, can I ask, at the Stepping Stones 3, are those all single units?
Yes, they're considered studios, but they're not a traditional like square box studio. They're like a little cutout for a living space, but they're nice. They're like all the NEC units we have.
Thanks.
Mhm. Any other announcements?
Yeah, quick announcement. Hey, everybody. This is Juwan Thornton with the Salvation Army. On Saturday, September 12th, we'll be launching an event called Operation Feed the Need. It'll be located at the American Family Fields of Phoenix. So it's essentially where the Brewers spring training, where they play. It's about 1,000 food boxes that'll be getting passed out to residents of Phoenix. Beginning at 8 a.m. and until supplies are gone. So it'll be roughly about 8 a.m. to about noon. So if there's any interest for a flyer, I have attachments in which I can pass along. If you have families that are in need of, emergency food assistance, we can help support those emergency food needs as part of this event. So Saturday, September 12th, 8 a.m. until supplies are depleted.
Hi,
Can you
Juwan. This
please
is
send
Steve
that
over.
flyer?
Oh, say that again, Stephanie.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, Stephanie.
Yeah.
I can't. Sorry. The whole interrupting thing. Could you send the flyer to Steve so you could send out to everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. Should I send that to Steve? Should I send that, or I can send it
Yeah,
to,
you
I
can
got
send it
you.
over to me, Juwan, and I'll blast it out to all of our groups and email lists. So we'll get 500 emails out today with your announcement.
Cool. Thank you guys, and hope to see some of the families in need there. I'll send that over.
Thanks. All right. Last call for announcements. All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. This is Shayla Schuster from Community Solutions.
Thank you, Shayla. A second?
I second the motion. Stephanie Crum, HSC.
All right. Thanks, Steph. All right. I think I saw Adrian Clark get on here. Are you there?
I'm here.
Ah, there you are. All right. Oh, so we'll do roll call to vote. Adrian?
Aye.
Thanks. Stephanie Crum?
Aye.
DC Ernst? Oh, shoot. Okay. Trisha Gibson?
Aye.
Wendy Johnson?
Aye.
Anne Marie Johnston?
Aye.
Laura Magruder?
Aye.
Jennifer Page?
Aye.
Aaron Rain?
Aye.
Nikki Ramirez?
Aye.
Tamara Riley?
Aye.
And Ty Rosensteel?
Aye.
Shayla Schuster?
Aye.
Laura Scott Nicky?
Aye.
Daniel Davis?
Aye.
John Thornton?
Aye.
Craig Chipkin? Craig? First, shows he's still on. Sarah Anderson? And Michelle?
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. Meeting is adjourned. Hope everyone has a great day, and great rest of the week.